looks like my theories on Yeasley being the end game is definitely holding to be true, but I was actually shocked to see how downplayed this Empire actually is in the whole scheme of things. This is my thoughts on the third episodes of the Idaten Deities No Only Peace, so let's jump into it. Opening up the episode, we get a little bit of insight into Rin herself as we get to see that she was obviously given the role of being the one that will, essentially protect the Idatens going forward once the grandfather leaves. It seems like the grandfather knew, eventually at some point we're going to have to leave and you're going to have to take over. And at that point, you're going to be the one that's going to have to protect the Idatens going forward. And we'll see in a flashback later on, this held true in that when this whole sealing happened, she felt lost. She felt isolated. She felt like she was alone. But very quickly after, it seemed like, I think it was said 80 years or 50 years, after about 50 years of her realizing the demons are gone, that this seal is going to hold up, this is the point in which she starts to really kind of train herself. She spends 350 years tempering her body. It shows her actually like standing in lava and just to kind of fight away the pain and all that kind of stuff. And then after that point, spending another 200 years completely removing fear from herself. So really crazy to see that. We'll also see that it seems like all these Idatens have the ability to change their clothing. And because her way of life is the way it is, she's actually able to summon a sword. And that's what we end up seeing her use in the battle, which is definitely a shock to Paula and not really as much so Yeasley. Yeasley kind of explains the whole situation to her. After this, the episode kind of opens up with the idea that the demons are all kind of sitting around the room as this doctor is kind of showing them all these different scenes from the fight they had in the previous episode with the demon. And it's kind of shocking the idea that they all are discounting what they're seeing. They're like, yeah, this is nothing. This guy that's fighting is nothing. He ends up asking them, like, who all here thinks that they can defeat these two? And it shows Paula and Yeasley, and they're all like, yeah, those guys are easy. And even showing Hayato, who the one that actually killed this demon, everybody's still like, yeah, I can do that. That's easy. And then he kind of points the question more towards what we assume is Rin. Like, what about somebody that's increasingly difficult, like way more stronger than this Hayato? Like, if you had multiples of this Hayato, only two raise their hand. And surprisingly enough, one of these is the one that we end up having confront Rin in the situation. They think they're sending somebody to go fight Hayato because of this tracking device. But it, of course, Yeasley's seen this and basically transferred it over to Rin, knowing that Rin would be able to destroy whoever ends up coming. He knew that they were going to send somebody. And so yeah, this person confronting Rin didn't really stand out too much. This is the crazy monster that was summoning tentacles, Nickel. And Nickel quickly dispatches Hayato like nothing. Like he just, impales him several times, knocks him out of the battle, and that's when Rin comes in and is tearing him up. And the funny thing is, because the entire time Rin's holding back. Like, that Rin's holding back. Like, she's not really doing too much against him. She doesn't realize it's a demon. And this is where we kind of realize that none of them realize this. Like, Yeasley himself is shocked by this. Like, we're now finding out that this doctor is the one that essentially infused these demons with knowledge of humans and their human form. So he is kind of more of a player than we really think he is. But he still believes him to be human, but that this human somehow has raised himself to the status of a demon lord just by giving them intelligence and their human form, and possibly brainwashing them is what he's implying. And this is kind of confusing to Rin. Rin does not think this is a demon. He has tentacles and everything, but she doesn't realize this is a demon until this Nickel basically says, no, I'm a demon. I was given intelligence and this human form. And she's like, oh, cool. Now that I know you're a demon, bring out sword. Boom, you're already dead, kind of thing. As Nickel's attacking, and she's just kind of like standing there, and he can't move, and he's like, "Why can't I move?" He's like, "Oh, because your neck's been cut. You're no longer attached to your body. You can't tell your body what to do." It was crazy. And then she goes over and like takes out some sniper that's nearby as well. But yeah, following this fight, obviously Hayato's mad. He's like, I need to train more. I got the floor mop with me, essentially. And she's like, no, you rest first, crack his neck, throw him on the ground. But this is where we get a lot of little insight into Yeasley. Yeasley is seemingly shocked by this. He's like, yeah, all this information they've now gathered, and this is where he's confirming, yeah, these demons are living amongst the humans to hide themselves, similar to me and Prontea. So this is the point in which he is implying that, yes, he and Prontea are within this other empire, and they're doing the same things the demons are. Now, this is a little bit of a... I really wasn't sure if I was looking too much into this or not, but I was starting to wonder if Prontea and Yeasley weren't Idatens. And I don't think that's really going to be the case. I think he's just really implying the idea that they're doing the same thing the demons are doing, where they're injecting themselves into human society under this other empire. And they're doing the same things these demons are under this empire. And they are technically doing some interesting things. Like, Yeasley is apparently has given some kind of information to Prontea that he then used to figure out how to use magic. So he's somehow able to use magic now, and this is something that Yeasley has a theory that he has given him, that he's able to produce magic. But obviously they are snatching up all these demon corpses and experimenting on them and researching them. So again, it goes back to my theory initially that I believe that Yeasley and with Prontea, it seems, are both creating another faction. And I'm hoping... I really am hoping it's going in this direction because, like I said in my first impressions of the first 2 episodes, it obviously paints this picture that these Idatens are created through these pleas of humans, but they don't do anything to help the humans. And it feels wrong, obviously. You see the destruction, you see the murder, you see this massacre, you see the unfortunate things that are happening in this world, but they're not doing anything even though they're birthed by it. So again, my theory is hoping that eventually it's going to turn into a thing where Yeasley and his faction is trying to stop the other humans from massacring other humans. And I'm curious if this is going to turn into a thing where Yeasley is not necessarily the bad guy, but he's almost like he's the anti-hero. He's essentially the anti-hero that is technically a villain killing humans, but he's doing it under the guise to stopping this massacre from happening. He's going to take out this nation. But the question really then comes in is Hayato with Rin going to attack Yeasley and Prontea? Like, now you guys are the bad guys because you're attacking humans, and you're possibly using imbued demons to do that. What is the repercussions there? What is the end game in that scenario? And it's sad because it almost frustrates me because they're painting Yeasley as a villain so hard that I'm hoping it's not going to be just as simple as Yeasley just turns against Ren and wants to kill Ren now because this whole time Ren has been ignoring the humans. I hope it doesn't turn into that. I hope it turns into a thing where he just finds his own justice, not as simple as all Idatens are bad, so I need to take them all out because obviously they've been ignoring the humans this whole time. I'll get frustrated with that really quickly. I really hope it doesn't go in that direction. But it easily can, based on the fact that how much they're painting Yeasley as being this smirking, grinning, evil guy under the shadow of his own hair. Is the best way I can put it. But like I said at the beginning, it does shock me how little, I guess, belittled they made this empire really quickly. Because like I said, they technically had one of 2 people that claimed they could beat somebody stronger than multiple Hayatos, which implies this person is, from what we're seeing, one of the top 2 powerful of this team. And she wiped the floor with them. So that only really leaves 1, maybe 2. They show this other one that was kind of off to the side that looks very, very prominent in the opening and the ending. There's this other kind of evil girl that obviously maybe is powerful, but we've essentially taken out 1 of 2, maybe 3, that is supposed to be the most powerful demons in this group. So unless they start doing some crazy stuff where Doctor starts imbuing them with multiplier powers and stuff like that, they've already established at this point that they've taken out one of their best. And that usually either leads to, again, Yeasley becoming the bad guy that is the focus, the Doctor making a multiplier to make them more powerful, to make it difficult, or taking out Ren. Ren obviously is the, Hokage, the big dog of the shonen that has to be removed to force the other students to come up and become, start training to protect the world going forward. Like, she has to be removed as an Idaten in order for the next generation to come up, essentially. And that kind of frustrates me because I really do like Rin, but like I said, that is typically a shonen trope. You having a really overpowered character that's present, and you can't have them always present because it undermines any difficulty whatsoever. It removes all stakes. But like I said, that's those three scenarios. Either Pontea and Yeasley become the bad guy, they find a multiplier for the demons of this empire, or they remove Rin. One of those things has to happen. So, but we'll see. That's my impressions on episode 3. I'm starting to get my head ahead way too much, but I hope you guys enjoyed my impressions. If you did, leave a like down below, comment, let me know what you thought of the episode and my theories and what you think is going to be going on going forward. I don't know. Yeah, no spoilers because this is from a manga. I don't want spoilers. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I thank y'all for watching, and y'all take care.